a hand comes out of nowhere. It's a dog. The dog is running, but it's so cold. All right. You see me, I see you. We are here. There is no flu. Right, so welcome back to another episode of my life. Yeah, Christopher Reusch, right? The new sensation in the world that people still have to get used to until they admit to themselves, holy fuck, that guy is so awesome. If I would be a woman, I would have definitely wanted to sleep with him. And if I would be a guy, you know, I'd want to try and challenge him and probably realize that I stand no chance, and that's all it's ever gonna be, right? You just have to be cocky enough to say, you know, I'm a fucking dude. No, I'm a man, and I grew up to be a man through intense amounts of suffering, right, that I basically chose to accept. Right, I could have run away from suffering all the time, but instead I faced it, and I came out stronger than anyone I ever knew. Yeah, it's somewhat true, but also not really, because of course, anyone who does anything in this kind of life has to acknowledge everybody who they met along the way, and I think that's sometimes what people don't realize. Right, it's like, I don't know, I watched some interviews of famous people or people who consider themselves to be famous or who are considered to be famous by other people. Yeah, that can then have somebody to look up to, because they feel shit about themselves, right? So they need famous people to look up to, because they have the feeling, you know, they're not really living the life that they wanted, but at least somebody does, right? So today, I'm back walking the same route that I walked in the previous video, which was on sugar addiction, right? A 1 hour rant, a monologuous rant, which is what I call when I go into these rants, right? When I channel my madness, which is basically inner truth or higher wisdom in the form of speech into your ears. Yeah, that's how it's done. So anybody who still isn't sure what channeling means, well, that's what it means, right? Higher wisdom, whoop, you know, passes my mind, comes out of my mouth in the form of words, which to you is just a word, while to me it's like, you know, it's just something. I don't really put that much meaning to it, because unless you do something with those words and you get the message, which in the end is a feeling. I'm talking to you about experiences that I have had in my life, yeah? That's what I'm doing. I went out there, I loved, right? And I suffered, and I fucking hated it. But every time one of these prissy little women, yeah, that, you know, wanted me to love them, and that I wanted to love me, right? Every time one of them pushed me, and I fell on my ass, and I said, yeah, for a while I said that, it's like, she pushed me away. Yeah, and then you say at one point, you know, fuck that. I don't care. I mean, you can push all you want, and that's, of course, the state, right, that you as a man should desire to be in. Why is that? Because, you know, I'm talking to you from a place of, okay, I've done this, yeah? I've done it, I've tried to love women. And all the women that I tried to love were women, right? They were emotional, which is basically nature, right? That's the chaos. That's the dark side of yin and yang. You know, that's where life comes out of, because women are here to give birth, right? Not to shave their hair and wear suits and be presidents or something. No. They're here to support man, you know, to do their ego trip and to give birth. But you know when that only works? That only works because ultimately we are all here to feel, right? We are all here to feel. You know, I'm trying to slow down a little again, because otherwise, you know, I'm just spilling all my energy in one of these rants, and then you think, what the fuck is he talking about? So so maybe I have to be a bit more like, I don't know, maybe like Ram Dass, right? Like, or I have to be more a bit like Terence McKenna, you know, elf machines. Yeah, but I'm not, right? I'm me. And I don't do DMT all day. I also don't sit around having a guru to tell me what to do, because I would fucking hate that. Because, you know, believe it or not, I'm the guru. So I can't have anybody telling me anything, because I'm that already. You know, I just have the challenge that people, you know, are so stuck up in their game of, I know what's going on because, right, we have science, we are humans, you know, we are so wise, we even know how to destroy the planet, right? We even know how to produce warmer climate, only we don't know, because, right, while we complain about, you know, the rising climate, we fail to see that it's not just, you know, I'm gonna say these things, by the way. If you've heard this before, well, hear it again. Hear it again. And then think about it, what you can do to raise people's awareness a little. To make everybody just a little bit less stupid. So that, you know, people like me can be a little bit less angry about how fucking wasteful we are with our potential, right? It's like, oh, I feel bad today. I'm gonna drink a coffee and eat sugar instead of going out. Uh-huh. You do that every day. Good job, you know? I would shake your hand, but no, I don't want to touch you. Because if that's the way you live your life, you know, just stay away. You know, be offended. Be offended by anything that I say. And then feel like, you know, you have figured it out. Okay. You know what the best thing to figure out is? You know? Exactly. You know nothing. The only thing that you know is how you feel right now. So I can feel right now like I have something to say. Only when I've said it, and that's the weird part. No, I want to go up. Because yesterday I went down, now I want to go up. Right? Because sometimes you feel like saying something. And when you've said it, you feel like, why did I say that? It wasn't really my place to say it. Alright? Why? You know why this, oh, I want to say it, and then you say it, and then you're afraid. oh shit, you know, you're afraid that you've said something wrong. It's like I had it yesterday night. And I'm just trying to tell you how conscious I am of the way that I feel. Because that's what it's about in the end. It's not about what I think so much. It's about what I feel and how that feeling changes the way I think. Because if I feel bad, I generally bore into this with my thoughts, right? It's like a feeling is basically nourishing all the thoughts that I have. And you know what this says? People don't know shit. Exactly. So, right, so if I feel bad and I keep nourishing this feeling of I feel bad with the thoughts that I have, then I hold on to the feeling because I nourish the thoughts that make me believe that I have a reason to think the way that I think or to feel the way that I feel. But more like in a, you know, instead of thinking, why do I feel like this? And then, that was what caused the feeling. Maybe some kind of anxiety or early childhood memory or something like this. Or just a habit or a pattern or general mindset or whatever you would like to call that. You know, and then I can let go of the feeling and I can acknowledge it and say, oh wow. Or I can say, you know, I'm angry at everybody because they're assholes. And that's why I'm so angry, because everybody is an asshole. Yeah? That's how you can be. I saw something on the internet yesterday, and that's basically what the guy did. He was just holding on to his anger so that he could feel like he was all right. But all he was anger. Yeah, and because it was part of his act now. I mean, his stage performance was nothing else but standing on the stage and complaining about stuff. That was why people visited his show. So they could feel better about themselves. So that they could have a person standing on top and talking about how much he hates life and everyone in it. And so everybody who's in the room just has their feeling of that's how life is. What's the word? It's like gratification? No, it's like, you know, sanctioned. It's like somebody, it's basically like a priest, right? The guy is standing on top and he's like, you know, you're an asshole and you're an asshole and these guys are assholes, and because they are assholes, everybody else has to be an asshole too. Well, that includes you then. Because if everybody is an asshole, then you are an asshole as well. And he's basically the priest. And he's proclaiming, or, you know, he's holding a mass for people who worship hate. And then they go home, they think, yeah, he really said it. You know, fucking assholes. And then they walk around and fucking asshole. And then they sit in their car, which is just like ego extension. And then they drive around like, you're too slow. Why do you brake now? You cannot park. It's like the way it is. And then, you know, they walk around with this kind of mentality. And they're just getting angrier and angrier. Because there's no end to it. It just gets worse. Because the more angry you are, yeah, I'm not gonna throw shit for you today. See, why do I say that now? You know, she wants me to throw a stick. And that annoys me. Do you know why? First of all, you know, I can say it's not my dog. Okay, but right now I'm partly responsible for this dog. And then whenever I see her feeling a bit like sulking, because dogs can sulk, of course, because there's, you know, consciousness inside, there's a being inside, something that feels, you know, I don't know what souls are. You see, I don't claim to know what a soul is. All I know, yeah, pee onto the road. You see, but what's a road, right? I mean, what is a road? It's something somebody said, now this place is only for people to drive in cars and sometimes bicycles, right? And if you want to walk there, it's forbidden, right? Because a community of people agreed this is going to be a road now, and no life shall ever be on this road. So if there's something green growing, we're gonna rip it out. So I just have to suck that up. So now I'm partly responsible for this dog, right? That's how life happens. Something happens and you either rise to the challenge or you get pressed into your depression by it. So I could now be all day like, I could really hate that dog because now I have to walk it. Like, I hate this dog, right? I could be like this all day, right? I could be like this from the moment I wake up because I think now I have to hate the dog because somebody somehow forces me to walk her. But the thing is, I see it as an opportunity instead. In a way, it's a solution, right? Okay, I have to walk the dog. The dog is not my dog. How much time am I supposed to spend with this dog? I mean, that's a valid question, isn't it? How much time am I supposed to spend with this dog now? Right now. How much time am I supposed to spend with this dog? It's not my dog. Somebody bought it and then they had to leave and left it in charge of the family. So now the family has to deal with the consequences that somebody wanted to have a dog. Now, how does that say anything? You know, it's just, how do you deal with it? I'm grateful because this dog is the reason why I go for walks. Partly because I know for me at the moment it's very hard to do so on my own, right? I acknowledge this. You know, if I would be one of these ego-driven assholes, you know, I would walk the dog and see myself as some kind of, you know, I'm doing you a favor. That's how most people are with their dogs. It's like looking down. Ah, my uncle. Hi. Das kurz einmal mal raus. All right. So I was interrupted in a way, and sometimes it's good to be interrupted because I didn't really want to talk about what I started to talk about, but it was still something that I wanted to talk about when I talked about it. Only now I feel like I also want to talk about something else. Because why am I doing what I'm doing is maybe a valid question. What's my motivation? My motivation is that I know how it feels to be really depressed. I mean, I know how it feels to feel like I don't want to live anymore. Right? I know how it feels like. I've been there, I've done that, and I found a way out of this hell. And what I wanted to talk about, and also still talk about, or need to talk about maybe even, is diet. I've talked about sugar addiction. As you can see, you cannot just wrap up sugar and sugar addiction in 2 sentences and say, well, you're addicted to sugar, so stop eating it. Well, at the point where you managed, it's that simple. Right? It literally is that simple. But until you've got to that point, it's a fucking struggle. Right? It's like, okay, you know, I've never went running. And I want to go running regularly. So how do you get there? Right? As I was saying in that video on sugar addiction, there is a whole set of factors that contribute to the way you feel. And one of them is diet. So when I eat something, I worked on my intuition, right? I worked on how do I feel today and what do I need to eat in order to help me to do something, yeah? I think you can still follow me. So that is fairly complicated. One thing that I realize is that people just want to eat. It's like habitual stuff. I mean, okay, they eat once sugar, it makes them feel good, they want to eat it all the time. What's the difference in my diet? Whew. I mean, that's a difficult one. First of all, when I eat, I first ask myself, what do I want to eat? But also, what do I need? So sometimes I have eaten oats for several consecutive days. Like, I would eat oats every day. Wow, today my feet are like quite fucked. I mean, I'm saying that because it's true. So I eat oats quite a lot because often my priorities are not so much with making food, but with just creating content. That's how I feel at the moment. All I want to do is create content and be creative. Why? Because I like it. It gives me something to do. And I can share what I have learned with the people, right? That can be liberating and also a trap. So my creativity and my wish to be creative is probably therefore, you know, the liberator as well as the creator of my frustration. You know, all methods are traps. That's something I picked up from Ramdas. So anyway, I'm really, you know, today I don't really know where I'm going, you know. And that's good, I think. Sometimes you need days like this. Oh, my feet, it's like, because today, you know, everything is ice. Like, literally, everything's ice. Because it's rained now, and now the question is, where do I want to go? And the answer is, just go. I also don't want to go too far. Okay, I'm just gonna stay here. Okay, diet. It's hard to say whether I feel like this today. It's really hard to say. And that's, you know, that's how I make decisions. You know, if I don't know what I want, I'll become what I want. Something like this, right? And then when I allow myself to be what I feel like, I can have a look at how I feel like, right? So sometimes all I have to do is start talking, and then I realize, holy shit, am I angry? So doing this podcast is basically what showed me how angry I was. I mean, this is not really the podcast here, it's more like a vlog or something. So gathering information is what it's about. What do you eat now and what do you don't eat? So for example, herbs and spices, yeah? Do you eat them? Do you eat herbs and spices? You see, everything that I eat this to help me to do what I want to do. So I eat the things that I feel like in the moment. Sometimes I don't eat for like half a day, which you may call intermittent fasting, only I don't do this all the time because that to me is a trap, because I'm living in a changing environment. Like, this body is a changing environment. Moon rises, the sun rises, you know, the moon goes down, it's full, and you know, it's a changing environment. So if I do intermittent fasting every day because I think it's healthy or it helps me, I may realize that there are some days where I'm perfectly fine without a breakfast, while there are other days where I hate not eating breakfast. Of course, the question is, maybe because you don't eat breakfast, like stuff coming up. But the thing is, if I don't eat then, because what is food doing? Supposed to be doing? Food is supposed, you know, to give you energy. Nah, partly. The way I feel now is, based on my experiences and how I observe things, when I feel really heavy in the morning and I feel like, what do I want to do today? Yeah. And then I realize, okay, I want to do something. I don't know yet what, but I want to do something. Maybe go for a walk. Because today I knew I had to go for a walk. If I want to do that and still feel good about it, what do? I eat something where I feel like it's gonna push me, so that I can use whatever made me heavy in combination with the food to work it out of myself. Right? So I put in work and food into the soup of my day. Yeah, so I season my day with food and with a certain form of exercise. With the way that I dress, I specifically wanted to wear this today, because instead of just wearing the same stuff every day, I asked myself, what do I want to wear today? How do I feel like? Yeah. And I don't feel like playing with that dog, because I think this dog has to learn to play with herself. And that's what I learned. You know, I'm doing the dog a favor, and the dog is doing me a favor. I keep the dog company, the dog keeps me company, but I've already played with her today, and right now I have to do this because I feel like it. So I can't play with the dog, even though the dog is like pretending to play by itself, while what the dog wants is me to throw her stick. But I'm not gonna do that, because then the dog is depending on me to feel good. It's like I open the door to the garden and the dog goes into the garden, and then it sits there. She sits there all the time. It's a she. She sits there all the time and waits. Right? She's waiting for something to happen. Instead, you know what she could do? She could be going for walks, even in the garden. She could keep herself busy, walk around and sniff things, just as she's doing now. But because I'm not there, she doesn't do it. Because she needs me, I don't know, as some kind of guide or some kind of, I don't know, security thing. I don't know why. To her, life seems to be boring if nobody's there. Right now she can do her thing, she can run around and sniff. All right, have fun. So okay, figure it out. For example, spices. Do you know what spices do in the body? So when I have a bad day, but I want to draw something, I think about, what do I need in order to draw something? Well, I need something to motivate me. Because I know I want to draw, but it's not enough to just want to draw. I need something else, and you could call that a sacrifice. You could call that something to donate to yourself so that you feel better about drawing. It's like gonna lift your mood, right? It's gonna lift your mood. Because right now I don't manage. I'm not at this point now where everything's easy. It is easy, fairly easy, easy enough you could say. But still, I need things to help me, because, you know, going from I feel kind of shit to, oh, I do yoga, you know, I'm a master Ashtanga yoganist or something. It's like a long stretch, a very long stretch, if you know what I mean. And so what's the catch? Today I know I want to draw so that I can publish things on Instagram, because I want to raise awareness. I'm still doing that, you see. You know, it's not over, and probably ain't ever gonna be over. So I have to find things that work for me, that keep me motivated, right? In a changing system. It's like me, the outside world. Things change. I want to change, so I also forcefully introduce change according to how I feel. Which is sometimes I drink coffee, sometimes I don't, right? Sometimes I use cinnamon, sometimes I use turmeric. How do I do that? Because I know that spices have a very strong impact on the bodily functions. Bam! What does that mean? It means no. She has injured her foot. I'm not gonna throw shit for her. So what does that mean? For example, I know, because I've read about it, right? It's like self-education, that turmeric, that's what somebody told me. Some information is quite hard to get. Somebody told me once that turmeric is also repairing your colon. Like, it's like filling up holes in your colon. Yeah, you can wait there all day. You see, nothing's happening. If you're just gonna sit around waiting, eventually you have to admit to yourself, oh shit, other people keep going, they live their life. Why am I sitting around waiting? And, you know, don't get me wrong, like, watching movies is waiting. Watching movies is waiting. Sitting around waiting to die or waiting to feel something. Well, if you want to feel something, go outside. Do something. I mean, you want to feel the skin, the air on your skin. You know, it's like what Barbossa says in The Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl. I feel nothing. That's what he says. I feel nothing. Not even the wind on my face. You know, I'm not trying to quote this. Like, so, what do you do when you feel nothing? Hands up! Something. Well, he couldn't do anything because he was cursed. Well, what do you do when you're cursed? Well, you work the curse out of yourself. Because maybe there is something like curses. Yeah? I mean, this is still spiritual advice from a barbarian lunatic, which means that I do believe that there are things like curses. Like, I do believe that somebody can look at you and inflict some kind of energetic damage on you. It's like the evil eye, right? It's like, argh! You know, if you're staring at somebody with a lot of hatred, that means, you know, you're sending hatred to them. And it's not a nice thing to send. It's like energy, you could call that witchcraft. You know, it's just focus. You're focusing your consciousness onto hating. And if you focus on hating yourself, well, good luck. You're a volcano, and it's gonna get hotter and hotter until it erupts. Or it's gonna explode. I mean, it's maybe the same thing, I don't know. Right, nutmeg, for example. I know that nutmeg is used as a stimulant in India. I read that once, that if you want to boost your sexual performance or just your sexual energy, what do? You drink milk with nutmeg, like quite a lot of nutmeg. That's like Viagra. I know that antidepressants, sometimes contain THC, probably in small quantities, or CBD. So, if people produce some kind of chemical cocktail and call that medicine, why don't I just take the things that they also use and make something myself? Because at least I know then what's in there. Because I don't really know what they all put in there. Because what I know is they don't really want to treat me. They just want to get rid of the symptoms. But what is the cost of getting rid of symptoms? Well, other symptoms. Because there's always a symptom, right? If I have meditated a lot and I'm very calm, then the symptom of, having meditated a lot is that I'm calm. It's like, okay, everything in a way has a symptom. So if I drink coffee every day, I might be very angry. You see, this is like feeling like it's getting nowhere. It's like that. Feeling like my feet are cold. So I want to move them. I also feel like my feet need a break from all this barefoot stuff. Today my feet feel like they need more comfort. Do my feet feel like this, or do I feel like this? Why do feet even get sore? That's a question I've been trying to answer. Why are there days where my feet can take anything? Yeah, because it simply is like this. If you overdo something, you're gonna get sensitive. If you overdo something, you're gonna get very sensitive. And now my feet are sensitive, which means, I'm moving them. It's very difficult. And the only way that I found to figure out what to eat, how to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, is by having a motivation. So my motivation is to be active. And so my motivation is to share. But also my motivation is, of course, to raise awareness. And then my motivation is also, this is my job. So partly this is what's going to feed my family. When I have a wife and children, something has to pay the bills. So that's one reason also that motivates me, of course. So the question is, what motivates you? And what boosts your motivation? And what hinders it? Today I was thinking about, okay, I got up and the first thing that's on my mind was food. Am I going to deny myself food? Because I know what fasting does to me. Fasting makes me weak. Mentally it may make me strong, but at the moment I need to be physically strong. You see, it's like every time I fast I have the feeling, all I want to do then is sit around. And that's good for meditation, but not so good for producing content, let's say. Also now I feel like I'm quite constricted in my throat. It's like, I don't know, that's something I ate. It's like energy blocking And that can be food, for instance. Some people have a nut allergy. Some people have some kind of allergies. You know, some people are allergic to cinnamon, but maybe it doesn't show. But the thing is, it's not really the food they're allergic to. Is that probably their body is oversensitive because it's inflamed because of the way you live. And that includes thoughts and all that kind of stuff, right? So inflammation is just a sign. And when you have a lot of allergies, what you should probably do is a detox. You should probably go outside more. You should probably change your diet. And one way for me is, like, diet is one of the major things in my life that I think about, you know, what helps me, what doesn't help me. And changing a diet is certainly something that's worth thinking about. Like, to adjust it to what you need, because everybody will tell you lots of things. You need meat, you need this, you need that, or blah, 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 blah. You need zinc and you need I don't know what. You know, okay, I don't live vegan. I still eat eggs, yeah? But I also don't want to take B12. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. Because I realize, you know, it's not really the B12. Because in the end, you take the B12 to make yourself feel better, right? So it's a thing of belief. If I believe that B12 helps me to feel better, I might already feel better. I believe going outside helps me, because then I don't leave it up to B12, right? No, I leave it up to I have an active lifestyle. You know, I do something in order to feel better. Because I want to draw later, I made a cacao. Amy. Right? Because I want to draw later, I made a cacao. Because I have problems with my knees, I walk more barefoot. And because I still have problems with my knees, because I've been doing quite a lot of workout, okay, I start to stretch. But I have to figure that out for myself. So I look at, okay, how do other people stretch? Okay, you know, I'm slowly working myself towards, okay, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to stretch more. Maybe even at one point I'm going to stretch every day. Maybe. Yeah. So one thing that contributes to whether or not you're going to stretch, or whether or not you're even going to leave the house, is certainly diet. So let's say today I wake up and I feel bleh. No, that's a general feeling. I have no energy, I'm absolutely unmotivated. What do? Well, either maybe you're gonna eat something, or maybe you're gonna drink ginger tea. Like ginger with sweet wood, for instance. And why do you drink that? Because your goal is to be motivated. Your goal is, I don't know, to do something, to draw a painting, to create a video for your podcast, for your channel, or to record an episode for, right? Or to just be with your family. Right? Today you feel depressed. So what are you doing? Are you staying in that depression? Can you allow yourself to wither away into the depression? Because I've done that. I have done it. And I realized there's no end to it. I can live like this my whole life until it becomes a habit and I no longer realize that I'm creating this. Because I'm holding on to the feeling of depression. You know, that's my problem, because apparently I haven't figured it out, and apparently I like being sad. Well, then be sad. But at the other side of sad is like being happy. So I can be sadly happy, or I can be happily sad. You know, I can feel sad, but I can still feel happy about it, because, you know, I'm feeling something. So if you hear people like Miley Cyrus singing in her songs, you know, I don't feel nothing. That's such bullshit. Nobody feels nothing. You always feel something. But maybe there are so many things in you that you don't want to feel because you're afraid of feeling them, because it's intense to feel, it's really intense, that you just push feelings away. But that still is a feeling, right? It's a feeling of numbness. And what is numbness? It's like overload. But you always feel something, right? So nobody ever feels nothing. It's impossible to feel nothing. Because maybe you just feel a lot of pain. But if it's a lot of pain, you know, it may feel like nothing because it's just too much to accept that you feel pain. Okay. You see, I'm just talking because what else should I do? What else should I do today? You know, a part of me just wants to put this down. Yesterday, because, you know, this camera shoots in 4K, right? Okay, I'm gonna use it. I use 4K. But that also means that my laptop, which is fairly small, takes about 6 hours. 6 hours to render a 1 hour video. Because this camera, you know, at this kind of resolution and stuff, at 8 minutes 52, you know, it creates a new file. Which means that when I pull the files, even though it's one entire video, it's being split apart into, let's say, 6 or 7 4 gigabyte files. Which means that if I want to upload it as one video, I have to render it on my laptop and wait 6 hours. And in that time, I can't do anything else. So yesterday my feeling said, watch a movie. And I thought about that, and I thought, but then I cannot render this video. Because if I watch a movie now, I cannot render this video. So I rendered the video and went to sleep. That's what I did. And then I woke up and I uploaded the video. And then I ate something. And then I waited a bit. And then I went down to the well, which is the cellar where the water filter is. And I got 4 liters of water, the well, and I went back up. And what did I do there? I prepared things so that I would be able to do art when I come back. What does that mean? I made a cacao, and I chose the spices that I felt like putting in there. And what does that mean? It's like garam masala, black pepper, cinnamon, coconut milk, cocoa powder, water. That's what I did. And I did this because I thought, you know, oh, I'm going to do this, and later on I'm going to make drawings, and I'm going to drink this cacao, and I'm going to really enjoy that. You know, that's what I chose. And so I did it. And the other thing was I made tea. 1 liter black tea with cinnamon, sweetwood, coriander, ginger. Yeah. And it's like lots of spices. Because although this is kind of pushing me to be awake, but also, you know, it just makes me have energy. You know, it warms my heart, which is something I need, because the people in my surroundings, they're kind of cold, right? Everybody's kind of cold these days, because everybody's just staying at home, and everybody's like flat, breathing flat into the chest, and because everybody leaves it up to eating sugar to feel good. That's just disgusting. Like, instead, what you can do, she just sits there, right? It's like people want to get home, turn on the radiator, sit on the couch and watch a movie. Very comfortable. You know what comfort does? It makes you soft and makes you weak. And that's your mind that makes you weak. And so instead, you could go out, you know, even though today my feet felt like, oh God. I mean, what's it gonna do? It's not really bad. It's just, it feels uncomfortable. Yeah, so what? I do it anyway, I go back home. And then I put some, it's like a mixture I made myself. I bought a beeswax candle, and then I made a water bath, a bain-marie, and I put the beeswax inside, and then I put coconut fat inside, and then I melted it, and then I put it into a glass jar. And that means I have some sort of cream. So when my feet are sore from walking barefoot, I put that on, and then I put on socks. So it's like a mixture of discomfort. You know, I go outside and I push myself. I literally push my feet. But then I also let them rest. I put on cream, beeswax, coconut fat. You can also put that on your lips. It's fairly simple to make. You can make large quantities at once. You could even put in some kind of essential oils like lavender. You know, it's quite good. You can even make cream for your shoes like this, right? It's like, if you have hiking boots, you can put that on. So, right, I mean, suffering, you know, you hear that a lot when you listen to Ramdas. He says suffering is grace. To a certain degree, for sure. So you can suffer all day, like, ah! But you can also say, you know, okay, I'm gonna suffer a bit now. You know, that's what happens when you're fasting. It's like induced suffering in a way. You know, I'm suffering now, but tomorrow I'm going to, you know, charge myself up again. So, right, but you know what it also is? You know what I learned to do? Because nobody tells me I'm doing good. Generally, people just tell you that you're doing bad. So, nobody tells you you're doing good. So, if nobody tells you that, how do you know if you're doing good? Yeah, that's a big one. So I tell myself that. Because nobody's gonna tell you that you're doing good. And why is that? Because nobody tells them either. So why should they tell you? You know, I'm just telling it to myself. Hey, good job, man. You know, I release a video, and it was a challenge to do so. Because I could have watched a movie instead. But instead I say, oh, you know what? I'm going to render this video, and instead of postponing releasing it, I'm going to sleep, gather energy, so tomorrow I can record another video. And after I do that, I say, well done, man. It's like, well done. But that's it, you know, I'm not gonna relax on that. It's just something I tell myself I'm doing good. Why? Because I feel good about it. It was a challenge. You know, I answered the call. I said, yes, I'm gonna do it. Okay. So I feel like making a cacao. Well, I actually feel like it's drinking coffee, but I also think it's too much. You know? I feel like making a cacao so that I can draw later. But also I don't want to go down there. What I really feel like is, you know, I feel acidic already. But to me it's just a sign my body is acidic. Often what is really that acidity is right? You're bleeding on the inside. I'm very angry. I'm very angry. I'm really very angry. How do I engage with my anger? By being creative. You know? Because being creative motivates me. Because I'm showing to the world and to myself that I can fucking do it. Right? So that's like this. But if you do that too much, yeah, it can just backfire. So, because drinking coffee over long periods of time, just like fucking yourself. Instead you could go jogging, right? Instead you could do some push-ups, right? To get to that. And that's, you know, coffee is a fucking disaster. Unless you use it occasionally. Unless you use it occasionally. And when you use it occasionally, it can be quite helpful. So, right, it's like, okay, figure it out, man. What kind of spices have what kind of effects? You know, that's a tough one. What kind of spices have what kind of effects? I know that cloves are antiseptic and all kinds of stuff, but no, nothing bad. So instead of brushing my teeth, I can chew on cloves. Cheers. And that's just one way. That's just one thing. Cloves. Antibacterial. Yeah. What causes tooth decay? Bacteria. So what can you do about tooth decay? If you don't want to brush your teeth, chew on cloves. And another thing why people have problems with their teeth, it's holding on to anger. Like, right? And that's self-directed anger then. So instead of directing that anger onto yourself, you can redirect it into your art. But for that, because if it's too much anger, you know, it's gonna numb you again. You're hearing what I'm saying? So sometimes we need something to warm us from the inside. So you go for a walk in the cold, then you get back home and you drink a cacao. And then you draw something. Totally different story. Right? So Mother Nature is there to help. Right? So we don't need to destroy it anymore. Okay? Cheers.